Welcome to RC Fun Time. Here's your host, Sean Janum.
That's ready for the all the way right here to Marshall, please. Again, if I can get one or two volunteers to come out.
Hey, welcome back. We're still here at Muscatine, the INS14. Right now I got Aydin. Aydin, sir, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Aydin Horne. I've been racing RC cars since I was 4 years old, and so far I've been fortunate enough to do it as a living, and here we are, Muscatine, Iowa. First time here at the Island Speedway. Place is pretty awesome.
Yes, it is. They have done a ton of work talking about Island and saying that it's awesome. The first thoughts of the entire facility?
Yeah, it's pretty unique with the upstairs pitting right above the lower level, but honestly, yeah, it's a pretty cool setup. We got people above the driver's stand they can kind of look over, so that's kind of like the executive spot, it seems like. But, yeah, no, it's super cool track. A lot of fun to drive on with like the wall rides, and I mean, pretty unique setup to be honest, which makes it fun for the racers because we don't always get to experience, you know, new stuff like this. I've never driven on a track with a wall ride like that, so that's pretty cool. I'm sure a lot of the racers could agree with me.
Excellent. Coming into the Midwest, first time to Island. Been to the Midwest much at all?
I live in the Midwest.
Oh, you do live in
Michigan.
Michigan. Okay, so you're up there in the cold.
Yeah, it's actually atrocious. Wouldn't recommend at all. But yeah, I drove here, hopped in my mom's Blazer, and made the trip. I got up at like 5 in the morning. It's about a 7-hour drive, and made it here for practice. Here we are.
Fantastic, fantastic. Said you've been racing since 4?
Yeah.
And you're how old now?
21.
21? How long have you been a pro?
My first year as a pro was 2021, so...
I got 3 years?
Yeah, math is kind of tough for me, so it's been a minute since I've been in the classroom, so yeah, 4 years.
If it's been a minute, it's been a couple of hours for me. So you've been in that since 2001. We're going to come back to that here in a little bit. Going back to your 4-year-old, what was your first car?
It was a ready-to-run Losi Triple XT.
Okay.
And I ran that model into the ground. Broke every part on it. You know, pretty much turned it into the next generation of truck, one part at a time. My dad was on Losi at the time, and he's actually the one that got me into it. He was a factory driver for Losi, and we had our own track, Factory Tracks Raceway.
Wow.
For it didn't last very long, 2008, around there, like 2006, 2008, something like that. But yeah, through that time frame, I was about 5 years old, and I would just spend every single day there, just because my mom was working at the track, and so was my dad, so we were all kind of married to it. I mean, why send me to daycare when I could just be at the track all day?
Absolutely.
So yeah, kind of grew up at the track. I didn't really competitively care about trying to get better at racing when I was 4, obviously. I was just trying to jump my car into the garbage can, and I was successful most of the time, so that was a good start to the career.
Was it into the garbage can or just to the garbage can?
Both, you know. I jumped it into the toilet before.
Oh, geez.
The bathroom was right by a back tabletop. Open the door and just grease it, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but I didn't really start taking it serious until... I don't even remember, honestly, but it definitely has not been 16 years of serious driving.
Right. As you got into it more and started realizing that the racing was something that you wanted to get into, did you have anybody that you followed besides your dad?
I mean, I grew up pretty close with Dakota, to be honest.
Okay.
Dakota, also from Michigan, and he was kind of coming up and getting really serious around the time we had our track, and he spent a lot of hours there. So definitely looked up to him, and he's about 5, I think he's 5 years older than me. So yeah, he was always kind of around, and just being around him and watching him progress and seeing the success that he had with all the stock titles back then, definitely was kind of like laying the path for me to try to follow. And also my brother used to be super into it around that time as well. And yeah, we just kind of all were there together all the time. And yeah, seeing Dakota turn into obviously who he is today, I would argue he's one of the greater racers to ever do it at this point. So yeah, just seeing that kind of unfold has definitely laid the groundwork a little bit for me, just because I was always around him, and yeah, now I get to race with him. It's pretty cool.
I was just going to ask. I mean, obviously, you probably raced with him at the track where you were at, but do you remember your first actual race with him, where you got to race him?
No, I mean, I ran novice for the longest time when I was like a 5-year-old, and he would run, stock or expert stock, super stock, whatever you call it. I was back when super stock was actually a thing with the 13.5s, and so I was never actually really on the track with him, just more so watching.
Gotcha. Understand. Do you have a favorite moment in RC? Most memorable moment?
I don't think so. Honestly, we all work pretty hard to try to get the results that we shoot for, and anytime you win a race is like the best feeling ever, and that's just what keeps you trying so hard to repeat it. So I wouldn't say that there's one moment that stands out really over all the other ones. It's just kind of every time you work hard and have success, it's just like I'm unable to describe just the feeling that you get. So yeah, no, I wouldn't say there's any time in particular, but it's just the feeling you strive for always.
It's the euphoria that you get.
Yeah.
It's that feeling that you and only you get. I forgot what I was going to ask. I had a thing all lined up. When you go to a race, like before the final start, do you have a ritual that you follow? Do you have a lucky pair of socks, a lucky pair of shoes, a certain shirt that you wear? Do you have a special meal that you eat?
I used to be superstitious like that. Like I would always wear I'd get like a pair of underwear that I thought was like kind of matched my paint scheme a little bit, and I would only wear it on main day at large events, and it would never get worn at any other time. And I was like that for a number of years, but recently I've kind of grown up a little bit, I guess you could say, and you just kind of realize that if you just do your job, then you kind of make your own luck with the work you put in. So if you deserve to get a good result, you'll get a good result no matter what underwear you're wearing that day. So that's kind of how I think about it now, but I definitely used to be like that.
All right. When you get finished here, you drive home, take your stuff inside, take your cars out. What's your normal repertoire? Do you take the car out, set it on the bench, strip it down, leave it for a day, and then come back? Or do you set it down, wait a couple of days, and then do it before the next event? Or what's...
It really depends on the schedule, I'd have to say. Like, the next event after this one is the 8-scale nationals for fuel. So after I get home from this race, I probably won't touch my carpet cars for at least a month until, I'll probably just throw them in the closet and focus on trying to get a good result at the 8-scale nationals. So for that situation, yeah. But if the next race was a carpet race, and I would come home from here, and I'd be at the track. My home track is carpet RC1. I'd be going there next week just to try to further the program a little bit. And it also really depends on how the event goes. Like if the event goes really well and I think my program is in a good spot and have a good handle on everything, then I won't feel a really gnarly sense of urgency to just get back at the track. Like kind of like a little bit of a mindset of like if it's not broke, don't fix it. Because
Exactly.
you can definitely go crazy testing at the track, and if you're not really focused and disciplined, then you can take steps in the wrong direction pretty easily. So if your cars are good and you're coming off like a win, then you can kind of relax. I shouldn't say like relax a little bit, but just more so focus on something else.
Gotcha.
But let's say we have a rough weekend and kind of blow out, then yeah, I'll definitely be rebuilding the cars Monday and trying to figure out where I went wrong for sure.
Talking about track time, what would you say your average track time a week is?
I try to go to the track 2 to 3 times a week when I don't have an event upcoming. But when there's an upcoming event, there's I try not to really burn myself out. I try to be nice and fresh for an event. So the week leading up to the event, normally I won't go to the track and I'll just focus on making sure that all my stuff is perfect and ready to start practice at the event, and just things are in line. You know, I have all the parts I need, I have the tires I need, the cars are prepped, everything's going to work properly. But let's say there's a 3-week stretch with no events. I try to go to the track at least twice a week.
Okay.
But any more than that, I find you can kind of get burnt out a little bit easy, and because I've definitely made that mistake before too. Going to the track like 5 days a week is like you end up hating RC cars by the time that the week is over. So
overdoing anything can do that too.
Yeah.
All right, a couple questions that are kind of off the cuff that have nothing to do with RC. Kind of get to know you a little bit as a person. Everybody always asks you stuff about RC and how you've done on that. Are you a chicken or steak person?
I mean, it really just depends on the weather, you know, and it also depends on how the bank account is feeling. Because, you know, I'll throw down a fillet like just as much as the next guy, but we're working with $10, we're working with $10, and we're going with the chicken. So.
All right.
It's situation based, but I'll throw down with both of them.
Awesome. Running or bicycling?
Running.
For you avid runner?
Well, the thing with bicycling is like when I bike, I do mountain bike, not road bike. And when you go on those trails, man, there's no escaping. Like you have to finish to the end, and if you're feeling like fatigued or having a bad day, it's like you are stuck in the woods, you know.
Yep.
Where when I run, I just do laps around my neighborhood or go down the street a little bit. But if I'm over it, I can just kind of like walk for a little bit, you know, and not be stuck in the woods. So, yeah, I'd say more of a runner for sure.
Okay. And the last one here. Choose one of the two, and then if it's not your favorite, tell me what it is. Coke or Pepsi?
I mean, I hardly notice a difference, to be honest.
Fair enough.
There's some people, like, I know you should ask this to Spencer, because when he orders Coke and they say, is Pepsi okay, he says no. But he can order a lemonade instead. I've never really been like that. It tastes the same to me, honestly, but yeah, definitely some people can be kind of picky.
All right. Well, I thank you for your time. Greatly appreciate it. Safe travels back home. Good luck this weekend. Kick some butt.
Thank you.
And take names instead of anything else.
Yep. Hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you so much.